I figure it's about time I give you a tour of the Dell Dimensions 4300. So this computer served me very well from the 23rd of December 2001 to the 9th of July 2007. Now, I got this computer because I was employed at the time at Comcast. And I had walked into work one day and I had said, or I was told that there was a computer in the back for me. And so I went back there and they were giving all the employees these Dell Dimensions, these 4300s. So this is a Comcast spec Dell Dimensions, and if you yourself worked at Comcast back in 2001 and you got one of these computers, drop a comment. I'm curious how far these went, or how many of these things were distributed. But anyways, this computer came with a bit of a getting the computer though came with a bit of a caveat in that you had to agree to stay employed with Comcast for the next 3 years, or else you would have to give up the computer. So that was not a problem for me because I worked with them until well past 2004. But anyways, here's the computer in all of its glory. This is one of the older, I think this is like the first generation of the clamshells that the Dells had. But as you can see, the swing-up door here is actually in good shape. I've seen a lot of Dimensions on YouTube that don't have the working doors, but underneath there's a headphone jack and there are two USB 1.1 ports. We've got a floppy drive, power button, and then I got an aftermarket CD-ROM burner. Again, I showed you the sticker. This is an Intel Pentium 4. It's a socket 478 Willamette. It's 1.6 gigahertz. And it came with Windows XP. So now on the back of it, this is a look up and down the back of it. This has a Radeon, ATI Radeon 9000. It's an RV250 based GPU graphics card. This computer did not have a graphics card built into it, believe it or not. You had to, it needed an external one, and it's AGP, of course, because that was in vogue the era. And because this was a Comcast spec computer, it has a little bit of crap there in the corner there. It's got a 100 meg network card because they were hoping that you would use these with the high-speed internet service that you get with Comcast, because being a Comcast employee, you got free internet and you got free cable service as part of your job, which is kind of a nice perk. And then we've got just plain old, AC 97 sound, PS2 ports, two more USB 1.1, and a COM and a parallel port. So now there's the CPU fan, and then above it's the power supply. And so now these old clamshells, with these clamshells to get these open, there are two tabs. There's a tab on the bottom, and then there's a tab there. And then just to get it open, basically what you got to do, push and lift. And then the computer is hinged, although it doesn't have a gas shock on it like you do with the cars or your tailgate, so that it stays open. You got to actually lift this open, and it'll click into place like that. And so now this has the classic heatsink shroud that sits over the CPU. And again, this is a socket 478 Willamette 1.6 gigahertz processor that's sitting there underneath that big block of aluminum. Now this is a Dell inspired, or a custom Dell heatsink solution that's on this thing, I think, because this is not the your typical socket 478 cooling mount that's got the you can't it's kind of the same clip design, but it doesn't have the tabs on the edge here. And another thing with socket 478 is that it's a little narrower of a heatsink thing there. But this is that shroud, and it's a fan that just comes out, just pulls out like this. Now the fan is automatically controlled. This is a Daytech 92mm fan. And as you see up there, it's got a thermistor that controls how fast or how slow the fan spins. As the CPU heats up and it generates heat and it pulls heat through these fins and into the fan, that warms that thermistor up, and then it makes the fan spin faster. And so when it starts out, it's really quiet. But as it warms up, it can get going pretty fast. And it was never very loud, but it makes kind of a unique sound. And so then here's the ATI Radeon 9000 video card. I bought this card for this computer. The original graphics card that came in here was a ATI Rage 128 Ultra, and I think it only had like 32 megs. And this has, I think, 256 of video RAM. And then down here is the network card. And then it has, for a chipset, it has an Intel, I think it's 845. It was one of the first chipsets for the Pentium 4 that used regular SRAM, and because they wanted you to use RAM bus RAM, these early SRAM chipsets only used PC-133 instead of DDR, so as they were a bit of a performance hit. And so this has 384 megabytes of 133. So yeah, there's the North Bridge, and then we've got South Bridge down there, and then we've got two IDE, which are ATA 100, and then there's a floppy connector here, and then I've got there's two hard drives in this computer. This is the original hard drive that came with this computer. It's still good. It's a Seagate 20 gigabyte, and then this is a Western Digital. It's an 80 gig hard drive. I put that one in there because this one just wasn't big enough. And one nice thing about the Dells is that you get these drive mounting rails, so if you want to throw an extra drive in that empty bay there, you don't have to go and buy all the expensive mounting hardware. They give it to you right in the case. And then the case itself is metal, and it's kind of got this little gasket around here for, I think it's either like RF or air sealing, so that you don't get dust in here or anything. But yeah, this thing, you know, it is a little dirty. So, well, here's something that happens every now and then when you're doing this. I tried taking the CPU out of its socket to try and or try to take the heatsink out so I could show you the CPU, and it the darn thing glued itself to the heatsink. And so when I took the heatsink off, the whole thing just came right out of the socket. It was like whoosh. So I'm going to have to try and get this out of here and put it back on the into the socket. And as I look down this row, it's not going to focus. This thing will not focus for me, but as I kind of look down the row here, I did a visual inspection. I didn't bend any of the pins on here, so I didn't damage the CPU, thankfully. But yeah, all these pins are still straight, so I should be able to get this back in, assuming I can get this unglued from the heatsink. So here's that Pentium 4 chip. If it'll focus for me here. There it goes. But yeah, it's a socket 478 Willamette, and they didn't put heatsink grease on here. It's just like a pad on here almost, and so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of TLC on this here. Okay, so after some scraping, some careful scraping, I was able to get both CPU and heatsink relatively clean here. So I will go ahead and I will apply a small dab of Radio Shack's Best. Screw that back on. There we go. And then to get this back on here, okay, that side is in. And now to get this side. Ouch. Okay. Well, I don't think this is going to end well, to be quite honest. I plugged it in, and as soon as I did, it came on and it started beeping, so... It's booting up, and I've got post lights, but I don't got a monitor. So yeah, I've got two orange and two orange and two green, which ain't good. Okay, so I'm looking, and it says reseat the memory modules. That's what my two lights were. Okay, so if I take out my RAM, and plug it in, what does it do now? Because without RAM, it's gonna complain. And it's still giving me two and two, so I have 256, and I've got this is the original stick of 133 that came with it. So let's see what this does now. And I got green. Oh my goodness, it's alive. It's alive! It's alive! Well, let me put in a 256 and see if that doesn't cure what ails it. Oh geez, I just spotted something here. That would explain why. I've had problems over the years with this not working. And I just saw that the clip on the ramps, that clip is broken. Let me get my computer, or my computer lights in here. But yeah, you see this this clip right there is busted. So yeah, what originally was supposed to be a demo video has turned into a fix-it video. And in doing so, it has also solved the long-standing issue that I've had, or at least I've discovered a problem to a very long-standing issue that I've had with this computer where it don't work. It behaves like you just saw it did. Actually, I was scared to death at first because I thought that I had fried my CPU. This is just front panel crap. But I'm just curious there's a way to fit that in there. As I'm looking in here, it looks like these clips just kind of just hang around in there, so yeah, that just pops out on its own. But it seems like that's in there now, so I will go ahead and I will reseat this 256 megabyte PC133 RAM module. And then I'll go ahead and I'll put the Radeon 9000 back in here. Still giving me beeps. Still giving me two. Still giving me beeps. Still giving me two lights. So I will take this out. Yeah, it's. What happens if I put the 256 in the first slot here? So not only is it not liking that, it's also not liking this 256. Maybe we did something here to this memory module. Okay, so after having played around with this thing for a while, I got it to post on 256. So what I'll do now is I'll shut it off and I'll put the hard drives back up and we'll see what it does. So I ended the power for hard drives, and because obviously when you're booting these things back and forth, you don't want to be power cycling these things every 10 seconds. It's not very good for them, if you know what I mean. My ED is kind of crooked in the drive bay. Oh wow. Well, I'm not going to worry about that for now. Let's see what it does now. Dell. And it's blinking at me stupid. F2. So here's the BIOS on this thing. Time is right and everything. However, I did not want to boot up, so let's do primary drive 0. 80, 20, so yeah, it's finding those 3.5, 3.25 inch. But yeah, so I'll just kind of go over the BIOS a little bit. You really can't do much with these, like primary drives, CD-ROM, boot sequence, diskette drive. Whoa. I do not have the boot from hard drive option on this thing. So I'm going to try and do a CMOS clear on here. And it says with it plugged in but not turned on, to go to the RST thing here. And to do that for 10 seconds. And then to put it back. Alright, so yeah, I cleared CMOS. Looks like I successfully cleared CMOS. Monday, September 10th, 2001. We'll set the time. And then it is 23:14. And then our primary, what is our boot sequence? Diskette drive. Capacity. Oh, I have even less now to I have less boot options now than I did before when I cleared CMOS, so what is going on with this thing here? Okay, so I was just reading around on the forum here, and we're going to try this here. We put these to auto. Get auto detected. Now let's see what we got here. We're going to save changes and exit. Now I do have an option for a boot menu on this thing here. F12 boot menu. Screen flick. Normal. Diskette drive, hard drive C. So let's see here. Still not give me that here. So we're going to try doing the hard disk drive C. Let's see what that does. It should give me Windows XP. No boot device available. Which is really, really, really strange. Okay, so I just read up on a Dell forum of an option that you can do on this computer that will do a software master restore on the NVRAM. Make sure caps, scroll, and number locks are on. They're on. Alt E, Alt F, Alt B. Now let's try this again here. Alt E, F, B. There it goes. Hey, that actually did something. Okay, we're getting Windows XP. Okay, so I found a master, I guess you could call it like a master software reset. That's the, make sure that caps, scroll, number locks are on, and then hit Alt E, F, Alt E, Alt F, and then Alt B, and then you will get a master reboot, which is what mine just did. Okay, so we're back, and here we go. We got our boot drives back. Yay! Well, needless to say, that was quite the adventure and quite the scare on my part. I thought I had killed my Dell, but it's all good now. So that is demo videos turned into fix-it video. If you made it all the way through, I thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.